All right. Let's get this done. Let's do it. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Wednesday, July the 1st, 2020. And we're going to see if we can get into some quick tennis news, current topics, and get this show on the road. So you ready to go, Carla?
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of flip through the headlines in the tennis world, as anyone could do, whether it's Google or whether it's some app. Anyway, and kind of touch on each one of those headlines and determine whether or not we care, or whether we do care, or whether it's just horse crap, or whether it's, I don't know, a good thing, a bad thing, etc. So we'll kind of wrap it into one big discussion.
Hello, Yin. How are you?
All right, so I'm going to start the first topic with something that was bothering me a little bit earlier today. So first of all, before I get into this topic, number one, my motto is stay positive always. This might come across as a little bit negative, but hopefully it does not. The intentions are well. So we had a short day of teaching today. We got done, and Carla had the mindset to sit here and talk some tennis today. So what was on my mind when she mentioned that was something that was bugging me when I was watching the current, I guess, exhibition tennis that we see here, whether it's the women in South Carolina or whether it's the men now. Some of them are playing at what looks to be a very nice home in the backyard type setup, you know, and all due respect there. Mm-hmm. But what was bugging me wasn't the tennis. It was the vibe of what I was watching. So with that said, let me kind of rewind about 6 months ago, and let's kind of think about life 6 months ago. Normal, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, normal. You go to the store. There's a young lady walking in the door. You open the door for her. You let the young lady go in. You don't have to have something on your face, and on and on and on and on. So I guess fast forward to now, and it's just baffling to me, just quite baffling, how much life has changed in the past 6 months. Wearing, I guess you could say, protective masks, and I don't have a problem with this. I'm just saying, what has changed in the past 6 months? I mentioned you open the door for a young lady when they're walking through the door, and now if you open the door for someone, they're like, whoa. Like give me some distance here. It's a hard thing to swallow.
Well, you could start by when we dropped off Jonathan at the airport. You were trying to tell a guy about his shirt. He had a logo for a football team, and he almost looked at you like you were strange or weird.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So our oldest son of 5, Jonathan, just left to go to the Air Force Academy in Colorado. So last week. So we took him to the airport. And we proceeded to go into the airport, and we've done a lot of flying in our lives. I don't think we've done a lot of flying in the last 6 to 8 months, or in the past 10 years for that matter. But I would say 10 years prior to, there's a lot of flying, and you would walk into an airport, just kind of sail in there, sit down, maybe have a beer, a drink, a water or something, and hang out. Grab something in the food court, and trot on down to your gate. Wave adios to your people, and you just get gone, right? I mean, it's just not that way. And so what I'm getting at and how I want to wrap this into what was bothering me by watching tennis earlier is that when I watch tennis, at least in this current format, i.e. first of 4 games, i.e. in the backyard of some luxurious, $100 million type estate property or whatever it is, what's hard for me to swallow is that I'm watching what I'm reminded of that just baffles me at this point. I get it's a really crazy thing that we're all living through, but I think when I have to watch it on TV, then I'm just reminded of how much the world has changed. It's hard for me to feel the energy of the first of 4 games. It's hard for me to feel the energy with no fans. It's hard for me to feel the energy with no ball boys.
It's hard to enjoy watching.
Yeah, it's tough.
Period. It's with no fans. You're watching a lot of the lower ranked players. You're watching them play at mansions. It's just hard to get into it. I don't enjoy it.
So if you notice, Carla has a little bit of a lisp. She might be like talking like this. So she was giving our 4-year-old, almost said 2. She was giving our 4-year-old a hug, and he's kind of a tough little guy. And he jumped up, and his head busted her in the tooth and knocked the whole tooth out. So she has like this temporary thing. So she talks like this. You know what happened?
Yeah.
In the middle of a dental repair.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So anyway, so is it not more difficult to watch than you could ever imagine at this point? I don't know how. Like, if the U.S. Open is going to occur, I don't know. It almost seems like it's going to be a forced product. Like, are we being forced to watch everybody be distant? And not that I have a problem with that, but let's go back to the airport guy that you were just talking about. So there was a gentleman coming off of the airplane, and I'm oblivious to this thing. We live on an island, and we don't have a lot of people here. So we rarely go off of this because we're always teaching. We're always kind of on this island, except like once or twice a week, and we go to a Walmart and we go early in the morning. So we don't see a lot of people in a sense outside of our tennis students. Mm-hmm. So I go to the airport. There's like 7 of us, and my dad's in there too, representing.
Well, we went into the airport. Yeah.
Okay, so we go in the airport, and I'm a big NFL football fan. I'm a 49er fan, but I have a fondness for Deshaun Watson, the quarterback for the Houston Texans. And here comes this young man off the airplane. He's got a Houston Texans pullover on with like a Deshaun Watson jersey underneath. And I'm like, let's go. So I think that kid's got mad talent. Mm-hmm. So I approach him and I'm like, hey, I like your shirt. And, just thinking football. I'm not thinking like I'm gonna kill you if I breathe on you. I'm not even thinking that. So I'm just like, I like your jersey. I wish you luck this year. And he's like, like I was about to I don't know, like assaults. It's tough. So when I watch it on TV, it just reminds me of how tough the world is.
No one's nice. People are mean. They don't want to talk to you. They're very short or not patient. It's just there's a lot of people snitching on each other. They even have a number here in Alabama where you can call if a certain business or person is not running things the right way, and it's just a bad time right now.
Yeah, so we're not going to dwell on the negative. And yeah, this is a good point. There are actually people that will now, I guess, dial numbers and tell on their neighbors if they're not...
like Boris Becker told Kyrgios,
you're
a rat.
Oh, jeez. I get you telling someone, if there's, some horrendous crime taking place. But geez, we have neighbors and friends telling on one another.
It's just a bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
Well, here's the example. Look at Zverev. We had this whole fiasco happen with Djokovic doing the Adria Tour and people coming up positive, and now he's the really, really bad guy. And then Zverev apologizing, saying, "So sorry, guys. I'm gonna isolate myself for 14 days." And then someone filmed him. And he's dancing with his girlfriend.
Who cares?
And there's another player there. So you got to be careful because there's cameras. I mean, everybody has a phone in their hand. And people are willing to snitch you out and make you look really, really stupid.
Do the morals of being a snitch still apply anymore? I mean, I repeat. I'm not saying that if some senior citizen is walking down the street getting beat up for her purse, you shouldn't catch the guy doing that. But oh my gosh, if we are telling and ratting on one another these days, globally, internationally, over these things, I mean, what are we to do? I was raised in a way that never snitch on anyone for anything unless it's something aforementioned. I can't rationalize it. So again, how does this slide into watching current tennis on the television? Because it's like I watch it and I'm reminded of what's going on. And if I'm watching something and I want to be entertained by something, why do I want to be reminded of what I'm trying to escape from?
Are you guys enjoying watching tennis like this? I'd like to hear from them. Are you guys enjoying? Are you guys going to be happy with no fans at the U.S. Open and only a certain amount of players allowed to play this tournament? I know they said yes to wheelchair now. Because of all the complaints that people were saying, you got to have wheelchair at the U.S. Open.
Well, that should have never been up for discussion in the first place. It was a shallowness for the first person to whoops. They shouldn't have gotten that wrong from the get-go. Horrendous call. Mm-hmm. But it's almost like for me, what are the advertisements going to be like? Or we're going to have this U.S. Open shoved down our throat because there's nothing else to watch. Everyone's going to watch that. My curiosity is what type of ads are we going to have in the midst of no ball boys, and when we don't have ball boys and umpires and staff and people working food courts and etc. What makes the economics of the tournament move forward in the first place? What's another depressing thought we have to think about? How many jobless people? What is there? 55 million plus homeless, but there's quite a few. Look at Los Angeles, but nonetheless, I think there's 55 million unemployed people plus, and I think that figure might even be low currently right now in the United States.
Yeah,
So when I don't see ball boys and everyone else, it just reminds me
I don't even think we should
of more
have
unemployed
tennis.
people.
I don't even think we should have tennis this year. I agree with Ying Hao Hor. He says the U.S. Open should not even be happening. I agree with you. I think it's just not the right time. I mean, the world is, I mean, people are suffering. People have no jobs. Some of these players won't even get to play the U.S. Open. I mean, are we going to really watch this? No fans. And then we supposedly have a French Open and then some clay tournaments. I don't know. It's just odd. I mean, look at Djokovic, what happened to him for trying to put back a tournament. I mean, people got bashed. It's a really bad thing for him. I'm sure right now he's feeling like crap.
I would never blame Novak Djokovic for that. He's just someone trying to do some positive, and again, this really baffling world in which we live, and maybe it didn't go according to plan. But Carla, how many mistakes have I made in my life?
People make mistakes, and it was not. I don't see it as
harmless. I mean, whatever.
I don't think it was his fault. He didn't tell these guys, "Hey, you better play." I mean, they wanted to, and things happen.
I mean,
and look at them; they're not even sick. They didn't even have symptoms. What does that tell you?
You know,
Ying Hao says, "Are they just greedy for money?" Yes, of course. I think the U.S. Open is greedy for money right now.
I think those that I think the elite 1% that push ads down our throats. Badly want to be in all of the international tennis community's face, i.e., on their television screen, so they can sell you something. Why watch something if it's not going to be max effort? If we're going to talk about, well, okay, now let's look at the one statistic behind this, and it's minor because the greatest of all time thing is irrelevant, I think, for me. But let's say, Nadal wins the U.S. Open. He gets 20 and ties Roger Federer. Can you tell me that it's a legit 20? If this fairy tale, I'm just making up a story. It's a hypothetical thing. But would it always be, I mean, isn't it a subject? Let's say some dark horse wins that you've never heard of. I mean, is it going to be, well, it's because of? I mean, is it always going to be
It's going to be always questionable. I mean, it's just a tough time. Gene says here, some of them are not even making much money. The struggle is real for them. Yes, it's real for them. They're not paying them much. What about the guys that are not in the top 100? Dylan Alscott seems to be a humble person. He deserved to have the wheelchair tennis.
Yeah.
For them, it's not about money. It's more about, getting a chance to do something that most people can't do being in that situation, I think.
Yeah, again, advertising. If you have just an absolute ton of people and they're all glued to something that has got lights on it, and they can't really do too much else outside of their home because of social distancing or whatever it may be. We're kind of glued into this thing. We haven't had sports in forever. Now here we go. Boom, we have the U.S. Open, so we can all sit in front of our televisions and be reminded that, yeah, it's a really tough world out there because there's no fans in Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's a really tough world out there because 55 million people are unemployed and there's no ball boys. So let me make it 55 million and 8 for every.
Well, too, they're not going to have many lines people. It's just going to be odd. Look, our kid is going to play a tournament, and they're starting to play junior tournaments, and they have very strict rules, right? Only one person can go in with them. You must bring a black and brown Sharpie to write your name on the tennis balls. They're not even going to have a check-in thing. You can't even leave the court. You have to raise your racket, whoever wins. But they're still charging the same amount for the tournament. But yeah, they're not giving you all the stuff that they would give you.
All right, so we won't mention name of tournament because this is common for junior tournaments, and this is one of the first, if not the first, junior USTA tournaments. Actually, it's UTR or something like that. Whatever.
No, it's USTA.
When I was a kid, there was no UTR. It was what your ranking is anyway. Long story. We won't get into that. So the entry fee, by the way, is $70 US. That's a lot.
It's ridiculous.
So I don't know if there's a constellation round anyway. If you lose in the first round, not that I give a crap anyway, because if you can't win a first round match, then you need not be out there anyway. Constellation, great, get an extra match in there, but whatever. We play to win.
I think it's just the way we didn't have consolation matches back in our days. I think the reason why tournaments do that, it's a way to justify the cost. What they're charging.
Yeah,
they're justifying this cost, so they're saying, well, we're charging you this much, so we'll give you this. But back in the days, you enter a tournament, you lost first round, you're done. That's it. But they weren't as expensive.
Yeah, so the entry fee for this tournament is $70. Okay, high as what, crazy. Anyway, let's play. Let's play the game. Let's play to win. Let's try to have a good show. So now the rules are only one person can go in with each player. So it can't be coach, mom, and dad, or what. Just one. Just pick one. That's okay for me because I tend to stress out the students that we teach or my own kids. They know I'm like not going to look good with my glasses on. They think I'm always trying to hate on them or something, but I'm not. That's just me. Anyway. So there's no snacks. Not that I could care about that in either way, because we have our own repertoire for that, but a lot of people don't. There's no what other is there no's that are involved in that? No what lines? What are the no no's? Are you there? You tune in Tokyo?
Yes, I'm fine.
But there's a lot of things that are excluded, but yet the entry fees are going up.
Yeah, you can't. So used to get like a shirt or something, and you'd be able to get drinks. You can't even get ice. So in other words, they're saying don't use our ice machine. You must bring your own ice. You must bring water. There's no water provided at the course. No drinks. But they're gonna sell it on the side though. They're gonna sell you ice on the side, which I thought was odd. Okay, so you won't let the kids go into the pro shop, get a bucket of ice, but you're gonna sell ice. So it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess one of the most difficult things to comprehend is that it's even a problem in the first place. And again, this will pass. This period will pass. But it seems like to me that it's a very tough world out there on all levels, whether it's on the tennis court, whether it's off the tennis court. Whether it's meeting someone and holding the door open for them or meeting some acquaintance at the airport and complimenting on his or her shirt. It's a tough world out there. I can't think of any more important thing to do than to study hard right now, especially for the younger generation. Study your ass off and work your ass off. Stay away from the social media stuff. The world is not going to get any easier, and to watch this go down. So I gotta have my 15-year-old, who, in my opinion, is a really, really, really good tennis player, beat Carla the other day in a match. Won a set, but it was good. It was solid. It was well done. I think you won the set yesterday, but it was like a 6-4, so it was contested as well. But he's coming along real well, and is just now starting to play tournaments. So the UTR thing, that is another problem, and why it's more important now to study super hard and work super hard is when I was a kid, you were ranked in a state or a region or a Mid-Atlantic region or a West Coast region, and you just, you played matches and you'd go get your USTA magazine, you flip it to the end of it, you look at your ranking and you move forward. But now you get this universal tennis rating. So it's like taking a college course and you get an F on your midterm, and you only have the final to go. It's really tough to pull that F up. So what these kids are forced to do is they haven't been able to play or practice basically in 6 months, right?
Correct.
6 months. So these kids are going to come off. Now, we've been able to practice and play, blessed because we live in a place where there's hardly any people. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people didn't have that opportunity. So a lot of these kids are going to come out and they're going to play a tournament with little or no practice, except maybe once a week or something, with hardly any practice matches. And the poor kids are going to have to face one of the two people that meets on either side of the court. One of the two is going to have to lose. Am I right or wrong?
Correct.
There's no tie. Someone's losing. So the way the system works is if the player, say, has a ranking of a 5 and they lose to a player of a 4, you're going to average out. This rating is going to drop. So you have to continue to win matches now to pull that average up. Mm-hmm. So what I think this is going to affect here is a lot of people to the negative. So I think that here what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of players that have worked really hard up into the point of the break that are going to play a match and maybe not get the results because of lack of endurance, stamina, muscle fatigue, maybe lack of interest because they've been parked inside for so long, maybe lose to someone they shouldn't have and they're going to suffer for it. So I don't know how to approach the best way to bring junior tennis back into the thick of things, but because this UTR thing is so difficult, it's so tedious to mess with, I think everyone has to tread carefully.
Yes, they do. It's going to be a tough tournament for everybody. Some of the people are saying, have you guys seen the fight between Kyrgios and Becker on Twitter? Hey, Hitchhiker. Yeah, I did read about it. It was all about Zverev. Nick Kyrgios basically telling Zverev, you're an idiot. You just said that you were sorry, and now you're partying. Man, just go hang out with your girlfriend for 14 days. And then Becker giving his 2 cents saying, well, you're a rat. I mean, honestly, Becker's an idiot, Kyrgios is an idiot, and Zverev is an idiot. Kyrgios is just enjoying that the limelight, and and he's bashing on these two. Becker should just shut up. If you're that high-ranked player with so many grand slams, don't say anything to an idiot.
Who gives a shit? Who cares? I mean, I can care less of what either. What? Okay.
So someone said Becker's just salty. Kyrgios attacks Zverev. Let's be real. I watched this whole video, Zverev partying. This guy will never win a Grand Slam. Why? Because true champions don't go party. They just don't go party. I'm sorry. I would be on a private court practicing, not going. And then the girl. I mean, come on. You're not even a champion, and you act like you're a champion.
I have zero interest in this topic. Zero. Could care less about what Boris Becker's doing. Could care less about what Nick Kyrgios doing. It has zero to do with our life.
And Becker's been on the protesting and everything. He just wants to be out there.
Give fodder to the masses. Give them something to talk about. Whatever. Next topic. I have no interest for me. I had no interest. Zero. I mean, do you have really interest in what?
No, I thought it was hilarious.
I've never even read it. Okay.
I watched the video. I thought it was hilarious watching Zverev party. I'm like, look at this idiot. He should be practicing and maybe go to the gym and add some muscle instead of looking like a linguini. But here he is partying with his girlfriend like he's in Miami Beach.
Did you just catch that word she just said? You know how, the Spanish language, you got these R's, and you got these T's. Did you just hear that quadruple T in the same word in that first? What was that word you said? It was like, what? Can you do that?
I'm just saying, this dude is partying. He's partying. He looks like linguini.
All right. Italian is all in one sentence.
Anyways.
Man.
Does anybody feel bad for Djokovic?
I don't particularly, again, I don't think.
Do you think Federer and Federer and Nadal are like? Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think the flavor. I don't think the heat. I don't think the news story is the same on the Western side as it is on the Eastern side. I'm guaranteeing you on the evening news in Serbia, respectively, that they're not hounding.
They're not. The minister was defending him. Saying it's my fault. It's my fault because we said it was okay.
Okay, so you're telling me if we could rewind ourselves in time during Pete Sampras's heyday, and this same thing happened here, that Pete Sampras wouldn't have been lauded and happily applauded for doing something like Djokovic did? See, you're seeing it from, I think.
No, I'm not agreeing with them. I'm just saying, do we feel bad for him? I thought when I saw that whole thing, we talked about it on the show weeks ago. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought it wasn't live. I was like, wait a minute, is this real? This tournament real? Or this happened years ago? Because we were seeing crowds and people hugging and stuff. And I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, really? I'm like, is that okay? I'm like, okay. And then we all knew something bad was going to happen from it. We all knew. We said it on the show, and it did. A lot of viewers said, watch somebody test positive, and it happened.
So there are conspiracy theorists out there. Maybe it was just planned. Maybe it's a theatrical performance. I mean, could it be possible? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I didn't mean anything.
So Yinghao says, I cannot believe Novak thought it was okay to go clubbing. Me too! That's what I'm saying! I'm like, what an idiot! You know that there's going to be someone with the freaking phone going, yeah, I got you.
Okay. The person with the phone is the bad one here. You know what I'm saying? What kind of coward? I mean, I don't want to get back into the whole.
Man, phones are everywhere. Hitchhiker says Djokovic, boats don't sink because of the water that surrounds them, but because of the water that enters into them.
That's a good point.
Big fan of Novak, and they expected him to be much smarter than that.
Can you read that quote again?
Hitchhiker said Djokovic, boats don't sink. Is this what Djokovic said? Boats don't sink because of the water that surrounds them, but because of the water that enters into them. That's good, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel bad for Djokovic because he is not the bad guy. Okay, he thought it was okay. I think he really thought everything is going to be cool. I want to show the world that we can play tennis again. That everything can be back to normal. Right?
Right?
I'm sure that's what he thought. Everything can be back to normal. We'll be okay. This side of the country, the cases are low. We'll all be good. Tennis is fun. Let's get it back. But it wasn't good for him.
I have to tread carefully here because I don't disagree. I mean, we just talked about it. 6 months ago, the world in which we live was a completely night and day different place.
But it's not going to be the same for a long time.
I understand that. And maybe it wasn't the right call, but I don't think it was a malice intent. I don't think it was, digging a hole deeper than it needed to be dug. I think he's just being the fun-loving guy that he is, and maybe it didn't.
Sure, he tested positive, and the wife tested positive, and Choiski tested positive, and his pregnant wife tested positive, and Dimitrov was positive, and then Novak's dad opens his stupid ass mouth and blames Dimitrov. This is another thing. Well, this guy needs to shut up. His dad, he needs to hire somebody to tell his dad, "Shut up, Dad. Just shut up."
What his name's what? Sergin Djokovic? No. What's his first
name? I like
name?
Djokovic, but when I look at his dad, he just looks like an a-hole.
Look, okay, all right. So I'm not taking anybody's back here, but you have to father-son relationship, especially when you're fighters like that. It's a difficult one to cross. Let's take Djokovic and his father aside. Can anyone tell me any more sports figures that have a very intense fathers?
The Williams sisters.
I mean, the list you could start in the year 1880 and list off thousands.
Oh,
of them.
Sure. Well, Gene
you can't blame that. He's just taking up for his son, and he does it the aggressive way.
He does it the dumbass way. You know how
he does it the Serbian way.
What's the way? It's better to keep your mouth shut. What's the saying?
But these people. No, look, this culture is hard hitting in your face. They've been through enough. Their country changes names. That people have been slaughtered there for years.
Many have been through a lot.
But I understand that. But they're hardened, and you're gonna mess with my son. You're gonna mess with me.
How are you gonna blame Dimitrov? How are you gonna blame Dimitrov?
Surely he regrets saying it.
It's Dimitrov's fault. He was sick when he came, so he gave everybody the virus.
Carla, have you ever said something you don't mean?
Of course.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna go out there and say it's this person's fault. You know your son is #1 in the world, ATP president. People are jealous of him. They don't like him already, and you're gonna go bash the other guy? How stupid can you be?
He wasn't thinking, but nonetheless.
That was just stupid. Can you imagine Dimitrov? And then Dimitrov, look at this. I mean, what karma? Goran Ivanisevic gets it. The trainer of Djokovic gets it. It's like boom, boom, boom.
Not funny though. Not funny.
I'm like, don't open your mouth. Shut up.
Sometimes it's hard to do that. It depends on the mouth in which you were talking to. The ability to shut.
You should have said, we thought everything was cool. And things happen, and that's it. It's not Novak's fault. People get this stuff, and that's it.
Okay, Miss Goody Two Shoes over here. Can I ask you an honest question? Have you ever, honest question?
Sure.
Have you ever been in the heat of the moment? Have you ever been in the heat of the moment, whether it be, i.e., a really difficult tennis match where you might have just had a really...
I don't blame somebody.
Okay, let me finish. Or maybe I got under your skin, or one of the 5 kids did something wrong, which is like 400 times a day. Have you ever, Carla, griped out something out loud that you did not mean?
All of us, we're not perfect.
So what?
But you don't blame another person. This guy is on a roll.
You blame me if the cabinet's left open and I haven't even been downstairs yet.
Man, I'm not going to go on national TV. It was Dimitrov's fault. Come on, man. I agree here with Gene says that his parents are bad apples. They don't know, obviously, how to talk. They're obviously not very educated, whereas Novak understands how to talk. They're not educated when it comes to the camera or interviews. You have to be trained for that. When you're a pro, they train your publicist. Don't say this, say that. They don't have that. You know what I mean?
And it's still difficult while on live microphone to not say everything that maybe you should have or shouldn't have said. It's difficult.
I don't blame Novak for it. I do feel bad for him that all that happened, because that's shitty. People want to get him out of the ATP Council. They're saying he was irresponsible. People are jumping on this bandwagon. So I do feel bad for him, and I hope that we forget about this and just move on.
It's a baffling world out there on all
horrible.
levels. Let me tell you, and I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but Carla and I, we don't leave off of this area very much, but when we do, it's usually to the store. So I dropped her off at a dentist office because of her busted tooth, looking like Bugs Bunny in here.
I look like a pirate for 4 days.
Anyway, so yeah. It didn't register to me.
The world is so toxic. Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, it didn't register to me that we couldn't go into the dentist office together. And I'm not going to bring up names. It didn't register to me because I've known the dentist office almost my entire life for like 30 years. And so it didn't register. I just wanted to go in and say hello to everyone. So we get out of the car, open the door, we go in, and I'm like looking for a hug, like, hey, how are you? Good to see you. And all of a sudden I'm rushed out because no mask, and it didn't register to me. So I finally realized that, oh crap, the world has changed and changed a lot. So let me get out of here. So I got in the car and I'm thinking to myself, geez, I'm paying for all of this, but yet, anyway. So now I have that mindset in my mind. This was about 8 o'clock in the morning at this point. And I'm like, okay, let me go to the store. So she's in the dentist and I drive to a Walmart. Had to get some various things, you know. What I get, some protein powder, get the swole on or something. Anyway, so I go into the Walmart and I park the car, and I usually like to park a ways away just to get a few extra footsteps in. So I'm walking, and there's two ladies that are approaching the store before me. So they were to the door before, and I have like a really bad knee that hasn't been surgically repaired, but for like 8 months. So I started kind of skipping to the door so I could beat them to the door, and I grabbed the door. And pull the door open for them, the electric ones or the ones that sense you, they weren't working. So I ran to the door and I opened the door with my expectation, you know, oh, thank you, young man, you know, good. I'm glad people still do that these days. Didn't go down as planned. Plan B happened, and I had no plan B because I've never in my life seen this before, especially where we live. So they proceeded to actually take a back step and went all the way around to the other side and looked at me like I was crazy. So, you know, here's strike two, and it's like 8:15 at this point, you know? So 8:15, you know, here I go, I walk into the store. Now, I have one hand, and I still have to lift it with my other one. It's broken. So I have one hand already. And so I'm getting my cart out, you know, so I can use my one left hand and put my stuff in the cart, and I pull back the cart up. And no sooner do I make the U-turn, you know, you got to pull the cart out and then make a U-turn so you can proceed forward, you know? So as soon as I proceeded forward, someone looks over at me and says, "Where's your mask?" And I'm like, "Holy shit, man!" I'm like, "Fuck."
That's not even.
I'm like, "What the hell?"
Not even. We don't have any every rule saying that it's mandatory.
So
yet.
what? The moral of the story is here is, holy crap! I'm not saying any of this is right or wrong. I'm right neutral, right dead square in the middle. Peace, love, happiness, much love to all. Always work hard, study hard, train hard, freaking then keep working. But it just like hit me because I never leave here. We coach, we teach. And then we run into town, but this time it was like in the middle of the day and not at like 6 in the morning when no one's there. And it was like a barrage at me. And I'm thinking, holy cow. And then I have to come home and then turn on a tennis match so I can watch it even more. Really hard for me.
Yeah. We'll talk about this. Andrew Harris accused Federer of being all for the money at the top.
Another snitch move. Who cares,
Stop
you know?
bitching.
I mean,
Stop bitching. I mean, the guy's not even playing tennis this year. He made all that money because he worked hard for it. Work your ass off too.
Well, whoever, I do agree with him though. What's the name there?
Andrew Harris.
So I do agree with Andrew Harris here, and I've said this since we started the show. 2 years ago now, I think. Wimbledon 2 years ago. And I've said it the whole time. I'm a Federer fan. I got his freaking RF tattooed on my back. No shit. I'll show it to you. I've already done it before. No need to do that. But a big fan. But once the you know the late 30s kicked in, even before that, I mean, it's quite apparent that on any good day he can lose to anyone. Ask John Millman. I mean, what he is in it for the money, but why wouldn't you be?
Exactly. I mean, didn't these guys donate money? I mean, go bitch at Tiem that he didn't help you guys out. I mean, I'm just saying.
All right, so
saying.
Okay, on the money topic, let's look at Rafael Nadal for a moment. And this is no big deal. I know that's your boy, and I pick on him a lot because I know he's your boy, and I just try to mess with him. I really don't mind the guy that much. I just hate his butt picking. But let's look at a headline I saw we haven't brought up yet. I saw this, and maybe this is old news. Carlos said it was.
Yeah, I knew that already.
I just saw it for the first time today. I knew that he was a yacht guy. In other words, big boats. I knew he loved big boats, yachts, you know. So I saw a headline that Rafael Nadal was just delivered something like an 80-foot catamaran that's worth something like
6.75 million.
6.75 million, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, here's number one. Who gives a shit? Who really cares? Number one. Okay, good for him. I wish I had it, even though I don't, because as much as we've been through, and Carla and probably all of you, if I had that much money, I don't think. I mean, yes, we would secure the home and live humbly, but I don't know if I was just. If I would be one to just buy a six, I don't know if I don't know.
I wouldn't buy a yacht.
I don't know
he
if it's
obviously
my thing.
has the money to do it, so
yeah. So he has the that's great, and you know.
Good for him. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah,
like Blind Fear says, good for Nadal.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is, it's good for Nadal. However, I don't think it's really the best time to be kind of boasting that. And
he bought it before it just came out.
Kind of if it was. And again, I read this today. Maybe that's the media. Has anybody ever heard of fake news? So maybe it came up today as just a reminder of
Exactly. Hitchhiker said probably paid for the yacht years ago. I heard about this yacht like long ago.
So why would it be though? Okay, forget about it. Let's have an objective conversation real quickly. Why would on a news source that article come up right now? Today
to throw more shade at someone.
To throw shade on it. That's what I'm getting at. It's another snitch move. It's another.
Hey, look, world, we're suffering, and look at this person.
And look at this guy. So again, this is an invasive article. This is an attacking article.
I know my dad used to paint yachts. It takes a long time.
So ultimately, here's another shady article written up about someone that surely happened a while ago. That's trying to make Nadal look like goody two shoes while everybody else is struggling.
All right, let me get to the next one. Blind Fury says, I hope tennis play at U.S. Open don't take the knee like UK football's very match is tiresome. I don't get what you mean by that. Tennis play at the USA Open don't take the knee like UK football's very match is tiresome.
I don't know. I can't answer that. I didn't really understand it.
Explain yourself, Blind Fury. Ying Hao says, besides jealousy for Novak, how much is this hate towards Novak down to racism too? I don't know.
Well, again, I'm too stupid to answer this question. Now, there is a couple of shows we've had on this topic. I don't think it would be racism per se. I would think it would be more geopolitical.
Yeah, I don't think racism.
I don't think racism here would.
So you mean they knee down, like kneel down, like?
Oh, I got what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't see where that would happen in the sport of tennis.
Not in tennis.
Because it's international. It's an international.
Yeah, Americans suck, remember?
The American dudes suck at tennis.
They suck.
But yeah, it's an international thing. I don't know how that would. I don't know how it would kind of fit in, or what the narrative would be behind that. I respect that. I think that's great, but I don't know how that would kind of play into tennis, or on what level. It would seem kind of odd, I guess.
Jean said, I read something today about something putting heaps of expectation on Coco saying she's the next Serena and all that nonsense. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love her, but it's way too early to predict. Man, yeah, I agree. She hasn't even won a slam yet.
She's a great talent.
Yeah.
I don't think yet she's better than Bianca Andreescu. I don't think she's. I think she's
not even better than what's her name? Oh my god. Naomi Osaka.
I think she is very young. I think she has an amazing talent. I think she has a great coaching platform. But yeah, it's early. How many tennis players can you name that get in the limelight at very young ages?
And look what happened. And she won the slams later.
And they disappeared because of pressure, calendar shoots, and expectations. So there's nothing new underneath the sun here.
Didn't you see Amanda Anisimova showing her booty?
I don't know.
You said, look, what the hell? Why? Concentrate on tennis.
Yeah, it's like an omen when you see young tennis players starting to show off their rear ends, or their high cut bikinis or their biker shorts or whatever. Generally, it goes downhill from there. Maybe there's some exceptions to the rule, but not too many.
I don't remember Sharapova doing all that. I remember Sharapova saying, "I don't want to be Kornikova. I want to be the best."
Kornikova, before she was taken over by absolutely swarmed by paparazzi, etc. She was always a good doubles player, but she had singles talent as well. Mm-hmm. But it went by the wayside. If you take an iota of time away from your training, especially being a singles player, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I read today where Nadal said, it's harder for the older guys to come back. He's like, I'm 33, 34. He's like, my body is not the same as I was a 20-year-old. 20-year-old taking a year off of tennis, they can come back. But our age, like Novak, Nadal, Federer, it's much tougher.
So this is a kind of a poignant comment that you made. Our oldest son just went to the Air Force Academy, college. There are a lot of athletes. This has nothing to do with him. This has to do with what you just mentioned. 20-year-olds can come back from things quicker, right? Mm-hmm. So we have heard a lot of conjecture, Carla, not just from the Air Force Academy, but from colleges abound. All over the United States, we have at least friends, constituents, or people we communicate with. There's no college really doing much of anything right now in terms of athletics, in terms of on the field and off the field. If they are, it is very spaced out, very much controlled, and for all the right reasons. So with that said, when these primed athletes have done a sport, whether it be football, basketball, weightlifting, sprinting, pole vaulting, tennis, whatever it may be, for for their entire life, starting at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and they did it all the way until college. First year comes and boom, they're cold, they're off. They've been on now a 6-month break, and who knows how much longer they will be on break. How difficult is it for that 20-year-old to come back? It is difficult.
They can come back, though.
It is difficult. Now, with that said, it's difficult, but they can come back from it, right?
Oh, of course.
Now, fast forward to, say, the age of 38. Serena Williams' age of what? She's 36.
She's about 36, 37.
37. Federer, 38. How difficult is it to come back for a 38-year-old? It's extremely difficult.
Sure, you got to keep practicing every day.
So this is a quick kind of underneath the radar shout out to any college athletes out there, and there's some of you that watch the show that are losing timing, rhythm, muscle mass, whatever it may be, because of the current time off. It will end, and you will come back from it. Dig deep, keep fighting, and don't think too much, kind of in a negative way, right?
Yeah.
So big shout out to all of those college athletes that we've been speaking with, whether it be personal or other platforms. Don't worry about it. You'll get it back. Now, Roger Federer and Serena, on the other hand, at the late 30s, that's a different story.
Yeah, but I'm sure that training, like I said, they're not partying like Zverev.
But he's young. What is he going to sit and pout?
He's young. He's 23, 24 comes, 25, 26, 27, 20. Oh, shoot. I'm freaking 30. Now I'm 40. Come on.
Okay. I've never been a Zverev fan. You know it. I think he's a cranny baby that whined about Yvonne Lindell's puppies. If you hate on puppies, you're a spoiled brat. I get it. However,
yeah.
What is he supposed to do? Go sit in his apartment and keep doing like indoor tennis ball challenges?
If you're freaking hungry, you gotta train. Just saying.
Well, but if he can't, I think you're looking at it. I think you're looking at it in the right way.
This guy's an idiot. That's how I look at it.
I don't think so. I think he's a kid still, and he's been trapped
You're
inside.
right. Most 23-year-olds are still kids in the head.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're not like
Just
the 23-years back then. 23-years now they're still kids in the head.
How many majors did Boris Becker win by 23?
Many.
Like 5?
Many.
Maybe.
Yeah. They had to mature at an early age.
Yeah.
Zverev wasted talent. I canceled him forever. Blind Fury says Fed will retire in 2021, and Hitchhiker says Federer will be 39 August. Yes, he's got my birthday. I'll be 41.
Tough to come back from it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, last thing.
By the way, he's been looking at Sabalenka stuff, and he said, you know what, Carla? He's like, I have to admit, yeah, you're right about her.
But what do you mean?
She's not all that.
Look,
she's not strong in the legs.
There's a couple of players out there that I don't dislike, but I kind of put on a front with her and have over the years. Rafael Nadal, one of them. I don't mind him, but his grunt and butt picking is just horrendous, so it's hard for me to watch. But Aryna Sabalenka, I never thought was the greatest player. I thought she could just whack the ball, but she squeals so darn loud. But the first time I ever mentioned her, she kind of got like a little I don't know if it was a jealousy thing, but she got all kind of upset about it. Like,
because I couldn't understand it. I could give credit where credit is due. But Sabalenka, you said she's got no legs. She's like, if you really look at her, she looks like a stick from the bottom. She's like, there's no way you could be a good tennis player like that, last long.
Yeah, I think her stamina is suspect.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, any more topics?
The next this, the next that. What do you think of FAA now, 20 in August, and still hasn't won anything?
This is a good question. When was it that we first talked about Felix Auger-Aliassime?
About a year and change.
I remember we would be out in the woods and when we
But this year has been kind of canceled.
Well, yeah, but let's rewind it before. Let's go back to this time last year. I think even then it would be a prudent conversation. Again, I just brought up out of nowhere how many majors did Boris Becker win by the time he was 23. I think by the time Becker was 23, correct me if I'm wrong, I think his career was on the downside. I think at that point, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Becker had done his damage already. So here we are. Another good player.
There's many players that are in this category. You've got the other Canadian player, Shapovalov.
Ranich.
You got Tsitsipas. Yeah, they're all getting older. We'll never have those type of young champions. This generation has changed so much. They are taking too long to mature. Therefore, they will not be Grand Slam champions at a very young age anymore.
I always had an optimistic attitude for Lucas Pouille early on.
Well, he was there partying.
Early on. Yeah, that's right. I did see that.
Too.
But he was an up-and-coming player. What did he make, a semifinal at the Australian a year or two ago or something? Was it 3 years ago? Didn't he make a semi?
He beat, I think he beat Nadal once, and everybody's like, ooh. You know, but yeah, again, these guys are not mature in the head yet. It's
Okay.
gonna take them a while.
So who we were just talking about? Oh, Lucas Pouille. So Lucas Pouille was the when he beat Nadal. This is an analogy, as who was the guy that beat Nadal at Wimbledon?
Rosal.
So
where is he?
So Rosal is to Nadal as Pouille is to.
Pouille played Nadal too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're the same player.
Mm-hmm.
They were good one day, but maybe not the next.
So these players that we're watching, they're going to win 1 or 2 slams. They're going to, it's going to alternate. We're not going to see a dominant player. We're just not. Not in this generation. Not this one.
Not with no fans and no one. Okay, okay, here's a question.
Not only is that happening, but here in the United States, more colleges are closing the tennis programs, which means it shuts doors for international players to come here.
Which in turn will have a domino effect, because if college programs are in a bind as to who they can recruit internationally or not, U.S. tennis will unfortunately suffer even worse. Let me explain. How do I sugarcoat this? It is hard to find a young American tennis player, at least on the boys' side, that are going to put in what it takes, 6 hours a day, every day, without mom and dad there, on your own. Want it, understand it, feel it, grind on it. You know it, you wake up, you think it, you wake up, you bleed it. You can't do that for a champion. The champion does it on his own, or her own. So our 4-year-old, by the way, which is quite cool. So we have 5 kids, they all play. But we've raised them all to play, and some of them are better than others, and some of them are quite good. But our 4-year-old, out of all of our kids, gravitates towards it. We don't have to ask. He gets his racket. He's like, I want to hit. Let's go play. Let's go. And he's whacking the ball. He's got the whole, he's ready. So I got high hopes for him. However, it's hard to find.
Maybe Savage.
Yeah, it's hard to find someone who's willing to go out and get the work done. They're looking for their phone. They're looking for their slushie after their session. They're looking for their tablet. They want to go get in the shade. They want to drink water too quickly. They're ready to kind of give up if they're down a couple of games into a set. So it's tough. It's tough. You know what I mean?
Well, my whole point, Hitchhiker, you say U.S. colleges has no patronism. My whole point is that many international players came with a scholarship to play for college tennis. But because of the pandemic, they're having to cut these programs, which affects them from realizing their dream and coming into the United States, to work here, to make a life better for themselves. It's going to affect them as well. Because Division III scholarships don't offer you much. That's what the Americans get, Division III. They're taking the Division I, Division II, and those programs are closing rapidly.
Yeah, and not just for the year. There a lot of, and I say I don't know the number, but there's more than a few handfuls.
A lot. I'm watching it. I'm watching the list every day.
Yeah,
it's dropping.
Of complete college programs that are,
and not just in tennis, many sports.
Yeah, not only in tennis, that are shutting down the sport entirely. In other words, you have to send the coach home. Or, hopefully he's teaching another class. But usually at university level, they're not a professor too. They're just the tennis coach, respectively. More jobless people. International players are highly important because unfortunately the teams are better.
Yeah.
When the international students, respectively, are within the ranks of the team, because they're hungrier. They are putting in the work it takes, and I don't know what it's going to take to raise the percentage of effort put forth by the majority. I'm not saying every American boy it doesn't work hard. I'm just saying the percentage. When I was a boy in the late 70s, early 80s, we worked hard on the tennis court and got down, But nowadays, an hour is kind of your limit. It's hot, let me go sit down,
Yeah, most kids can't even survive an hour less. It's sad.
It's a different world. It's baffling sometimes.
Yeah. Someone said here, Fed won his first slam when he was 23. Yeah, but he was special. He beat
Philippoussis that year.
Yeah, I don't see that from the other guys. Sorry, I don't see them winning at 23 and then going boom, 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 boom. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be. You never know though. Next week you could have some.
Maybe you'll have one good one and everybody else sucks.
Yeah, you could have. You never know. Before those 3, we never saw anything really like it before. So who's to say it won't happen again?
Well, true.
Good. All right. Good?
Yeah.
All right. So that's it. Much love, everyone. Take care. Stay positive. Work hard. Hopefully everybody is well. We'll see you next time. Let's go. Come on.
Yep.
That's what I like to say. Let's go. Come on. Keep digging. Stay positive. And see you next time.
All right.
Let's roll.
Adios.
Let's go. All right.